Life is always speaking, always responding, always shaping itself according to the state you occupy. Even when nothing appears to be happening, even when the outer world seems unchanged, something profound is aligning beneath the surface. Everything is coming together in ways you cannot yet see, and your only task is to stay ready, inwardly, mentally, spiritually. Readiness is not about striving, it is not about forcing or chasing. It is about assuming the end so fully that you no longer doubt its approach. When an outcome becomes natural in your imagination, life bends around that inner certainty. You begin to walk differently, think differently, and carry yourself with the quiet confidence of someone who knows the promise is already fulfilled. That inner shift is the true beginning of every blessing. Many people wait for signs before they believe, but the one who understands the laws of consciousness knows signs appear after belief. The seed works underground before it breaks the soil. Your desire is no different. Its roots are forming in hidden places. Every coincidence, every delay, every closed door, every unexpected moment is orchestrating your good with precision. What looks like stillness is divine coordination. The universe does not respond to your wishes. It responds to your inner acceptance. The moment you say within yourself, "This is mine," the unseen activity begins. People move, situations shift, conversations take place without your awareness. Entire paths are rearranged just to bring you what you have already accepted as true. And while that is happening, your readiness becomes your greatest contribution. Staying ready means living as if the breakthrough is inevitable. It means refusing to entertain thoughts that contradict your desire. It means preparing the inner atmosphere so your blessing has a place to land. When you mentally dwell in the fulfillment, you magnetize the physical experience toward you, and the physical experience goes with you. Do not be fooled by outer appearances. Life is always slowest right before it changes. Nights are darkest before dawn, seeds are quiet before sprouting, and your dreams often feel most distant right before they manifest. This is the moment to remain steady. Hold the end. Walk in the feeling. Trust the invisible process that is unfolding for you. Everything truly is coming together perfectly, precisely, and in a way that will make you grateful for every step of the journey. So remain expectant, remain grounded, remain ready, because what belongs to you is making its way toward you. And the moment your inner state becomes a match, it will appear effortlessly in your world. Your inner state is the cause. Life rearranges itself to match your assumption. Everything you experience on the outside is a reflection of what you have accepted on the inside. Most people try to change their life by wrestling with circumstances, by fighting conditions, by pushing against what they do not want. But the real transformation begins not with effort, but with inner alignment. Your thoughts, your feelings, and your assumptions form the blueprint from which your reality is constructed. When you shift the inner state, the outer world must follow. Every assumption you hold carries a creative power. It may be subtle, it may be invisible, it may feel insignificant, but it shapes the path you walk. If you assume lack, life mirrors lack. If you assume delay, life offers delay. If you assume that things never work out for you, the world arranges itself to validate that belief. But the moment you assume abundance, favor, and the inevitability of good things, the world reorganizes itself to support that truth. Life is incredibly obedient to the state you dwell in. This is why inner work is not optional, it is foundational. You can take all the actions in the world, but if they are rooted in fear, doubt, or desperation, they will produce more of the same. Action cannot override assumption, it can only express it. But when your assumption is one of confidence, certainty, and fulfilled desire, even simple actions carry extraordinary results. Everything becomes amplified because your inner reality is aligned with the outcome you seek. The world you experience is not random, it is not chaotic, it is an ordered reflection of your dominant inner state. If you want to know what you have been assuming, simply look at what keeps appearing in your life. Patterns are just assumptions repeating themselves in physical form, and the moment you change the assumption, the pattern must break. You do not have to beg, force, or struggle. The state you occupy becomes the silent magnet that pulls matching experiences toward you. When you assume something with conviction, you begin to think in alignment with it. You begin to feel the emotions that belong to that reality. You begin to move through the world differently. People respond to you differently. Opportunities reveal themselves. Pathways open. Life bends around your internal decision as if it has no choice, because it doesn't. Consciousness is the only cause. An assumption is the only method by which you set consciousness in motion. This truth is liberating because it means you are never a victim of circumstance. You are never powerless. You are never at the mercy of the world. You are shaping it from within at every moment. Change your state, and the world must change with it. It cannot resist the command of your inner reality. When you choose your assumption deliberately, when you hold it, feel it, and live from it, everything around you rearranges itself to match the truth you have claimed as your own. What you prepare for reveals what you believe is on its way. Life always responds to your inner expectation, and preparation is the outward expression of that expectation. The things you choose to focus on, the steps you take, the time you devote, and the energy you invest are all reflections of what you truly accept as possible. Most people prepare unconsciously, often driven by fear, doubt, or the habits of the past. They react to circumstances rather than assume the future they desire. But those who consciously prepare do so in alignment with what they already know will come. And in doing so, they signal to themselves and the universe that the outcome is inevitable. Preparation is not about forcing the future, it is about demonstrating inner acceptance. When you act as if the result is certain, your mind, body, and environment begin to align to that reality. Every action you take becomes infused with the energy of certainty. Your thoughts become clear, your focus sharp, and your decisions guided by an unseen intelligence that knows the end is already fulfilled. In this way, preparation is a sacred bridge between the invisible and the visible. It is proof of faith in action, a tangible acknowledgement that what you desire is already on its way. What you prepare for also reveals the quality of your belief. If you prepare with hesitation, half-hearted effort, or constant worry, it shows that your assumption is weak. You may wish for abundance, success, or love, but your preparation exposes the limits of what you truly believe. Conversely, when you prepare with full expectation, you show an unshakable trust in the outcome. You act as if the end has already arrived. You organize your resources, sharpen your skills, and cultivate the environment that will support your desire. This is not striving, this is alignment. It is a demonstration of the inner reality you have assumed, a proof that your consciousness has already claimed the result. Even the smallest preparations carry immense significance. Writing down plans, creating routines, visualizing steps, or organizing your surroundings. All of these actions are signals to your subconscious that the desired outcome is not a distant possibility, but an immediate reality. The universe always mirrors this readiness. Opportunities begin to appear. People show up at the right moment. Circumstances bend in your favor. Preparation, when done from the state of already having, acts as a magnet, drawing the unseen forces into the physical world to support your assumption. What you prepare for is a direct reflection of your belief. It reveals the inner state that governs your outer experience. The outer world cannot contradict what your consciousness has accepted. It will respond to the blueprint you have created internally. Therefore, preparation is not just a practical step. It is a spiritual declaration. It is a statement of faith, a proclamation that you already occupy the reality you desire, and that the world must arrange itself to match the conviction you have expressed. Through preparation, you reveal, strengthen, and solidify the reality that is already coming to meet you. Alignment always precedes manifestation, and understanding this principle is the key to effortless creation. Nothing in the outer world can appear until it has first been established within. Every accomplishment, every blessing, every change in your life begins as an inner state before it becomes an external reality. The person who achieves, receives, or manifests is not merely taking action in the physical world. They are first existing as the person who has already received. The alignment of your thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and expectations forms the invisible foundation upon which the physical outcome is built. Without this alignment, effort alone will always fall short, no matter how much energy or time is invested. To align with what you desire means to inhabit the consciousness of already having it. It is not wishing, hoping, or striving. It is living in the awareness of fulfillment. When you mentally and emotionally occupy the state of the end, your actions, reactions, and choices naturally flow from that reality. You carry yourself differently, speak differently, and think differently. Every decision is informed by the assumption that what you desire is not in the future, it is your present. This is the subtle but powerful secret. Your outer life is a reflection of the inner state you maintain. When your inner reality is complete, the outer reality must conform. Many people try to manifest through effort alone. They chase, negotiate, and struggle, believing that external work is what produces results. Yet, without inner alignment, these efforts are often scattered and ineffective. The universe cannot contradict your dominant state of consciousness. If doubt, fear, or scarcity dominate your mind, the outer world mirrors these conditions. Conversely, when you fully embody the version of yourself that has already received, the outer world cannot help but follow suit. Circumstances, people, and events begin to arrange themselves in perfect harmony with your inner reality. Opportunities appear effortlessly, doors open, and synchronicities multiply, all because you have become the person who naturally attracts that reality. Becoming the version of you who already has it is not a temporary exercise. It is a sustained inner commitment. It requires attention, practice, and faith. Every thought, feeling, and perception must be aligned with the truth of fulfillment. You must refuse to entertain the reality of lack or limitation. You must cultivate the emotions, the confidence, and the perspective of someone who is already living the life you desire. In doing so, you are not creating from nothing. You are unveiling what already exists in the unseen, allowing it to manifest in the tangible world. Alignment is the precursor to manifestation because the universe responds to consciousness, not to effort alone. When you live as the person who has already received, you become a beacon that draws your desires into form. This is why the wise focus first on inner transformation, knowing that every external expression is born of inner state. To manifest effortlessly, to create with certainty, you must first align fully with the reality you wish to see. Embody it, feel it, live it, and the universe will move to make it visible. Delays are not denials, they are adjustments, preparing the perfect moment. One of the greatest misunderstandings in life is believing that when something we desire does not appear immediately, it has been withheld from us. In reality, the universe is always orchestrating events with precision, timing, and intelligence beyond our comprehension. What may feel like a setback, a pause, or an obstacle is often the silent work of forces, arranging circumstances to ensure that the manifestation of your desire occurs in its most perfect form. Delay is not opposition. It is preparation. When you trust in the unseen and recognize the wisdom behind timing, you begin to see delays differently. They are not signs of failure, they are proof that the desired outcome is being meticulously aligned. The outer world often moves slower than the mind expects, but this slowness is never wasted. Every delay allows for the subtle adjustments, the unseen refinements, and the unfolding of conditions that must be in place for the manifestation to be complete. Life is always moving toward your good, even when it seems like nothing is happening. Each pause, each moment of waiting is an opportunity to strengthen your alignment, clarify your vision, and refine your inner state. Delays serve another purpose. They reveal the depth of your belief. When desires do not manifest immediately, your faith and assumptions are tested. If you become impatient, doubtful, or fearful, you are unconsciously signaling that you are not yet in alignment with the reality you seek. On the other hand, when you remain calm, confident, and expectant, you demonstrate inner readiness. This readiness is the magnet that draws the circumstances into harmony with your desire. The universe does not respond to time. It responds to the state you occupy. Patience is not passive. It is active faith in the unseen process. An acknowledgement that what you desire is already on its way and will appear at precisely the right moment. Every delay also allows for better preparation on a practical level. Opportunities, people, and resources often emerge gradually, and their timing must align with your readiness to receive. Sometimes, an early manifestation may not have yielded the best outcome or the highest benefit. Delays ensure that the conditions are perfect, that the timing is ideal, and that the experience itself is maximized for your growth, joy, and satisfaction. In this way, what seems like waiting is actually the invisible hand of intelligence, shaping the circumstances for the most extraordinary result. Understanding that delays are not denials transforms your perspective. You begin to trust the process, embrace the pause, and align your thoughts and emotions with the inevitability of fulfillment. Every moment of apparent waiting becomes a chance to deepen your inner state, strengthen your assumptions, and live in the certainty of what is already yours. The universe never hurries, yet nothing is ever lost. The delay is always purposeful, always strategic, and always leading to the perfect moment when your desire will appear fully and flawlessly. Patience and readiness are your allies. Trust and alignment are your guides. When you embrace this truth, you realize that delay is not a wall to stop you, but a bridge, preparing the way for your ultimate victory. The unseen is more powerful than the seen. And trusting what you have accepted within is the secret to true creation. Everything that exists in the physical world first originates in the invisible realm. Thoughts, beliefs, assumptions, and imaginings are the unseen forces that shape reality, long before they appear as tangible outcomes. Yet, most people place their faith in the external world, believing that what they see is the ultimate truth. This is why so many struggle, for the visible world is merely a reflection of the invisible, not the source of creation. To master life, you must learn to trust what has already taken root in your imagination and inner consciousness. When you accept a desire as fulfilled within, it is already operating in the realm of the unseen. Your belief, your feeling, and your assumption are like seeds planted in fertile soil. The growth is invisible at first, yet inevitable. It is not necessary to see immediate evidence because the unseen is far more potent than any visible circumstance. The moment you feel, believe, and assume something as true, the laws of life respond. Your inner acceptance sets into motion the chain of events that will inevitably bring your desire into the external world. What you hold within is stronger than any obstacle, limitation, or doubt that appears on the outside. Trusting the unseen requires a deep inner conviction. It requires living from a state of completion rather than lack. When you accept that what you desire already exists within your consciousness, you no longer rely on outside confirmation. You no longer chase after signs, explanations, or guarantees. The unseen operates with perfect precision, and it always fulfills the inner assumption. Patience, faith, and alignment are the instruments through which this power manifests. By trusting what you have accepted internally, you allow the unseen forces to work unhindered, to orchestrate circumstances, guide people, and arrange events in perfect harmony with your inner reality. The visible world often appears unpredictable, chaotic, or contradictory, and this can tempt you to doubt the power of the unseen. But appearances are deceptive. Outer conditions are temporary and mutable, constantly shifting like clouds in the sky. The inner state, once firmly assumed, is constant and unshakable. It acts as a magnetic field, drawing to you the people, opportunities, and experiences that correspond to your acceptance. The unseen does not move at the pace of the world, it moves at the pace of belief. It is silent, unseen, yet infinitely more potent than any external circumstance. By trusting what you have accepted within, you step into the true creative role in your life. You become the architect of your reality, no longer a passive observer or victim of conditions. You understand that every outer event is a reflection of your inner state, and that by mastering the unseen, you master the seen. Every assumption you hold, every feeling you nurture, and every inner conviction you embrace sets into motion a force that shapes the physical world. The unseen is the blueprint, the invisible hand guiding reality. Trust it, live from it, and you will witness the miraculous power of life, responding to the truth you have claimed within yourself. When everything looks still, the shift is happening behind the scenes. Stay ready. Life has a way of moving in silence long before anything becomes visible. Just because you cannot see progress does not mean progress is not unfolding. The greatest changes often occur in phases that feel quiet, slow, or uneventful. These moments test your patience, your faith, and your ability to maintain the inner state of already having what you desire. But beneath the surface, beyond your senses, forces are rearranging circumstances to align in your favor. The stillness is deceptive. It is the space where the invisible becomes inevitable. Every meaningful transformation begins in the unseen. Think of a seed buried in the soil. For a long time, nothing appears to be happening. No sprouts, no leaves, no signs of growth. Yet inside that seed, life is forming. Roots are extending and structure is developing. If you judge the process by appearances, you would believe nothing was working. But nature operates in hidden ways, and so does your destiny. When nothing is moving externally, everything is preparing internally. Life is creating openings, merging paths, shifting people, and aligning opportunities. What feels like stagnation is actually divine preparation. This stillness requires a particular kind of readiness, not anxious readiness, not frantic preparation, but calm expectation. It is the readiness of someone who knows the promise is maturing invisibly, the readiness of someone who understands that silence is not abandonment, but orchestration. When you remain ready during these quiet phases, you keep your inner state aligned with the outcome. You do not collapse into doubt or impatience. You do not let circumstances dictate your belief. Instead, you hold the feeling of fulfillment, trusting that the unseen is working more powerfully than the seen. Staying ready also means maintaining the mental environment where your desire can manifest. It means refusing to contradict your vision with thoughts of lack, delay, or impossibility. It means responding to the stillness with faith rather than fear. When you stay ready, you prepare your inner and outer world for what is coming. You sharpen your mindset, strengthen your conviction, and embody the version of yourself who already has the blessing. You become a match to the manifestation long before it arrives, ensuring that when it comes, you are prepared to receive it fully. The truth is, life rarely announces when a breakthrough is approaching. It often comes disguised in silence. The shift happens backstage, hidden from view until suddenly everything unfolds at once. Doors open, opportunities appear, and what once felt delayed arrives with astonishing speed. But this rapid manifestation is always preceded by a period of quiet internal realignment. If you mistake that silence for failure, you interrupt the process. But if you honor the stillness, you accelerate the unfolding. So stay ready, stay centered, stay aligned. Trust the hidden movements that are shaping your future. When everything looks still, remember that the shift is already happening behind the scenes. Life is rearranging itself to meet the truth you have accepted within. Your readiness is your signal to the universe. I am prepared. I am aligned. I am expecting the best. And when you hold that state, the breakthrough becomes unavoidable. In conclusion, everything you desire is already aligning in the unseen, quietly arranging itself to match the state you occupy within. Your inner assumptions, your preparations, your alignment, your patience, and your trust are the forces that shape reality even before it becomes visible. Delays are not denials. The unseen is more powerful than the seen, and readiness is your key to receiving. When you live from the feeling of fulfillment, when you embody the version of yourself who already has what you seek, the universe cannot help but respond. Life is always working in your favor, even when it appears still, and the moment of your manifestation is closer than you realize. Thank you for taking this time to listen, reflect, and align yourself with the truth of your own power. Stay ready, stay faithful, and watch as everything comes together for you.
My dear friends, tonight I want to share with you something that will revolutionize your understanding of wealth itself. What if I told you that right now, as you listen to these words, your imagination is already constructing the bridge between your current state and the abundance you seek? What if the very restlessness you feel, the dissatisfaction with your present circumstances, is not a curse, but a divine signal that your consciousness is expanding beyond its current limitations? You see, we live in a world of infinite possibilities, yet most of us remain imprisoned by the evidence of our senses. We look at our bank accounts, our circumstances, our apparent limitations, and we conclude that wealth is for others, never for us. But I am here tonight to tell you that this is the grandest illusion of all. The truth is this: wealth is not something you acquire. It is something you assume. It is not a destination you reach. It is a state of consciousness you inhabit. And if you have been feeling stirrings within you, if you have been experiencing certain signs and sensations, then I tell you now that your imagination is already preparing the way. But here's what most people miss, and this is crucial. The signs of approaching wealth are not what you think they are. They're not found in your external world first. They begin in the invisible realm of imagination, in the depths of your consciousness, long before they manifest in your physical experience. Let me share with you the sacred signs that indicate your consciousness is shifting toward wealth, toward abundance, toward the life you were meant to live. The first sign, and perhaps the most misunderstood, is what I call divine discontent. You begin to feel restless in circumstances that once seemed acceptable. The job that once provided security now feels like a prison. The routine that once brought comfort now stirs an inexplicable unease within you. But here's what's fascinating. This is the exact same feeling that every wealthy person experienced before their breakthrough. They all felt this divine stirring, this holy dissatisfaction with mediocrity. Most people resist this feeling. They try to silence it, to return to their former comfort. They medicate it with distractions, numb it with routine, or worse, they judge themselves for feeling ungrateful. But I tell you this, that discontent is not your enemy. It is your salvation. It is consciousness itself, stirring within you, preparing to expand beyond its current boundaries. Think of it this way. When you outgrow your clothes, they become uncomfortable. The discomfort isn't a punishment, it's evidence of growth. In the same way, when your consciousness outgrows your current circumstances, those circumstances become uncomfortable. Suddenly, you can't stay in that job that once felt stable. You can't remain in environments that drain your energy. You sense a calling for something more, even if you can't yet define what that more is. When you feel this divine discontent, you are like a seed that has been planted in the darkness of the earth. The seed must crack open, must break apart from what it was, before it can become what it is meant to be. This breaking is not destruction, it is transformation. And here's the secret that changes everything. The moment you stop resisting this discontent and begin to embrace it as a sign of your expanding consciousness, you align yourself with the very force that creates worlds. Consider the story of every great fortune. They all began with someone who could no longer tolerate their current reality. They felt the divine discontent, and instead of silencing it, they listened to it. They understood that comfort is the enemy of growth, and that God, your own divine consciousness, will disturb your peace to shift your direction. The second sign is the sudden flooding of your mind with ideas, visions, and possibilities that seem to come from nowhere. You find yourself imagining scenarios of success, wealth, and influence that feel both foreign and familiar. You wake up with business concepts you've never considered. You see yourself living in ways that your current reality cannot support. Pay attention to this. You're not just unhappy with your circumstances. You're being flooded with visions, ideas, and plans. You're waking up with thoughts you didn't go to bed with. You're thinking about business models, creative ventures, investment opportunities that seem to arise from thin air. This is not daydreaming, my friends. This is imagination the divine faculty by which all things are created. When your imagination becomes active in this way, it is because consciousness is preparing to clothe itself in new forms. These visions are not random, they are revelations. They are consciousness showing you what is possible when you expand beyond your current limitations. The mistake most people make is dismissing these visions as fantasy. They say to themselves, "I'm just dreaming," or "I'm being unrealistic." But I tell you that these visions are more real than your current circumstances. They are the preview of coming attractions, the blueprint of your expanding consciousness. Listen carefully to this. Every great fortune, every magnificent achievement, every transformative breakthrough began first, as an imaginal act. The external world is simply consciousness made visible. When God, your own divine I Am, speaks to you, it is through inspiration. He deposits vision into people he intends to use. If your mind is suddenly fertile with ideas that seem beyond your previous thinking, you are likely being led toward the wealth connected to those ideas. Your imagination is not showing you what might be. It is showing you what shall be, if you will only assume the feeling of its reality. Don't ignore these visions. Don't dismiss them as impossible. Instead, live in them, feel them, assume the feeling of their fulfillment. Because in the realm of consciousness, assumption is the only reality that matters. The third sign is the mysterious alignment of people, opportunities, and resources around you. Suddenly, conversations lead to connections. Books appear that speak directly to your vision. People emerge who can help you in ways you never anticipated. Watch this carefully. It may start small. Someone offers help. An old contact reconnects. You discover a podcast, a book, or a mentor that speaks directly to your situation. Doors start opening where once you saw only walls. This is not coincidence. There is no such thing as coincidence in the realm of consciousness. This is the infinite intelligence of your own I Am orchestrating events to support the state you are growing into. When you begin to assume the feeling of wealth, the entire universe conspires to confirm that assumption. Here's what you must understand. These alignments are not happening to you. They are happening through you. Your consciousness, expanded to accommodate wealth, is now attracting the experiences that match that expanded state. The infinite intelligence that you are is working through relationships, timing, and information to bring about the fulfillment of your assumption. You may find that someone you haven't spoken to in years suddenly reaches out with an opportunity. You may discover that a book you randomly picked up contains the exact knowledge you need. You may meet someone who introduces you to someone else who changes your life. These are not accidents. They are the natural result of consciousness in motion. The moment you truly grasp this principle, you realize that you are not a victim of circumstances. You are the operant power in your own experience. You are not waiting for luck. You are creating the very experiences that others call lucky. The fourth sign is an increase in your spiritual sensitivity and discernment. You begin to hear the voice of your I Am more clearly. You start to distinguish between the thoughts that come from your limited, conditioned self and the inspirations that arise from your divine nature. This refinement is essential because wealth without wisdom is dangerous. God, your own divine consciousness, cannot entrust you with abundance until you have developed the spiritual maturity to handle it responsibly. You may notice that conversations that once entertained you now seem empty. Environments that once felt comfortable now feel spiritually stagnant. This is not judgment. This is growth. Your consciousness is tuning to a higher frequency, and what once resonated with your former state no longer matches your expanding awareness. This is the secret the wealthy know but rarely speak. True wealth is first a state of consciousness, and only secondarily a collection of material things. The fifth sign may seem contradictory, but it is perhaps the most important. Sometimes, before your consciousness can expand to accommodate wealth, it must first release what no longer serves your highest good. This is perhaps the most confusing yet powerful sign: loss. I know that sounds contradictory, but hear me out. Sometimes before consciousness multiplies your harvest, it clears the field. You may lose a job, a relationship, a source of income, or even your sense of direction. In the moment, this feels like defeat. It can feel devastating. But I tell you that loss is often the universe's way of creating space for something greater. It is consciousness clearing the field before planting new seeds. Here's the truth that will change how you see every loss. Sometimes consciousness subtracts to prepare you for a greater addition. It removes what no longer serves your destiny so that your hands will be free to receive what does. Look again at what you've lost. Was it really serving your highest good? Was it truly aligned with the person you're becoming? Often, we cling to things not because they're good for us, but because they're familiar. We hold on to jobs, relationships, and situations that drain our energy because we fear the unknown more than we trust the process of growth. But consciousness, your own divine awareness, knows better. It knows that before you can hold more, you must release what is keeping your hands full. It knows that before you can receive the new, you must make space by releasing the old. When you understand this principle, you stop cursing your losses and start blessing them. You recognize that what appears to be subtraction is actually preparation for multiplication. Every ending is a new beginning. Don't curse the loss. Understand its purpose. Wealth isn't just gained by addition. It often comes by subtraction first. The question is not, why did this happen to me? But what is this making room for in my life? Trust the pruning. What you lost may not return in the same form, but what's coming will make sense of everything that's been removed. The sixth sign is perhaps the most profound. You begin to experience a peace that defies explanation. Even when your external circumstances seem uncertain, there is a quiet confidence within you that all is well. This peace is not based on evidence, it is based on faith. It is the peace that comes from knowing that you are not separate from the source of all abundance. It is the calm assurance that what you have imagined, what you have assumed, what you have felt to be true, must and will manifest in your experience. This peace allows you to act without anxiety, to plan without panic, to move forward without fear. It is the sign that your consciousness has already accepted the reality of your wealth even before it appears in your external world. When you have this peace, you know that you are not hoping for wealth, you are expecting it. And expectation is the feeling that precedes manifestation. The seventh sign is a fundamental shift in how you speak about yourself and your future. You stop using the language of limitation and begin using the language of assumption. Instead of saying, I hope I will be wealthy, you begin to say, I am wealthy. Instead of I want success, you declare, I am successful. Watch this transformation carefully. You no longer speak like someone defeated. You no longer see yourself as a victim of circumstance. You're not just thinking about surviving. You're beginning to believe in thriving, even if your current bank account doesn't match your mindset. This is not positive thinking. This is consciousness speaking. When you truly assume a state, your language naturally reflects that assumption. You cannot maintain the feeling of wealth while speaking the language of poverty. Your words are not separate from your consciousness. They are the very expression of it. Remember this biblical truth. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. If your inner life is beginning to echo abundance, gratitude, generosity, and vision, it's only a matter of time before your outer life reflects the same. The change is spiritual first, then physical. You stop thinking small because consciousness itself is expanding. You begin to see yourself not as you were, but as you are becoming. This shift in self-perception is one of the most powerful indicators that wealth is on its way. Your words are not just sounds. They are the vehicles by which consciousness expresses itself in the world. Every word you speak is either confirming your current limitations or affirming your expanding possibilities. The eighth sign is the paradoxical increase in your desire to give, even when you feel you have little to give. True wealth consciousness is never stingy or fearful. It operates from the assumption of abundance, not scarcity. Here's something that might surprise you. Many people on the path to wealth start giving more before they ever receive more. As strange as it may sound, Your spirit begins to understand the law of sowing and reaping. When you begin to feel wealthy in consciousness, you naturally want to share that wealth. You understand that giving is not loss. It is circulation. It is the way consciousness expands and expresses itself through you. You no longer cling tightly to every dollar. You start blessing others, giving without fear, because your heart trusts that what you release returns to you multiplied. This generosity is not calculated. It is spontaneous. It flows from the recognition that you are not separate from the source of all abundance. When you give from this understanding, you are not depleting yourself. You are affirming your connection to the infinite. This isn't foolishness. This is faith. And generosity is the soil in which abundance grows. If you're feeling more drawn to giving, that's a powerful sign that consciousness is preparing to increase your storehouse. The wealthy know this secret. You cannot outgive the universe. Every gift you give is a gift you give to yourself. When you give from a consciousness of abundance, you are not making yourself poorer. You are making yourself richer. You are demonstrating to consciousness that you believe in its infinite capacity to provide. The ninth sign is an insatiable appetite for learning and growth. You begin to invest in yourself, in books, courses, mentors, and experiences that expand your understanding of wealth, success, and consciousness itself. This hunger is not mere curiosity. It is consciousness preparing itself for greater expression. You cannot maintain a state of wealth consciousness without constantly expanding your understanding of what wealth means and how it operates. The knowledge you seek is not just practical, it is spiritual. You want to understand not just how to make money, but how to live as a wealthy person. You want to know not just the techniques of success, but the consciousness that underlies all success. Remember, wealth is not something you get, it is something you become, and becoming requires constant growth and expansion. The 10th sign is the development of an inner strength that allows you to persist through challenges that would have previously defeated you. You find yourself able to do things that once seemed impossible, to continue when others would quit, to maintain your vision when others lose faith. And here's what's remarkable. Suddenly, things that once overwhelmed you now inspire you. You find strength where you used to find excuses. You stop procrastinating. You start showing up early, staying late, doing more. This strength is not human willpower. It is divine power flowing through you. It is the power of consciousness itself, expressing through your assumption of wealth. When you truly believe in your heart that you are wealthy, you find the strength to act like a wealthy person, even when the evidence suggests otherwise. That strength isn't just coming from you. It's flowing through you. That's consciousness equipping you. When it calls you into wealth, it also clothes you with the capacity to chase it. This strength manifests in many ways. The courage to start a business, the persistence to complete a project, the faith to invest in yourself, the determination to overcome obstacles. It doesn't mean the journey will be easy, but it does mean you'll be empowered. You'll find grace to do hard things that once seemed impossible. This is the strength that builds empires, creates fortunes, and transforms lives. And it is available to you right now, in this moment, if you will only assume it. Here is a fundamental principle that most people do not understand. Consciousness always creates the vision before it releases the provision. You will see the dream before you see the dollars. You will feel the calling before you touch the cash. You will have the idea before you have the income to fund it. This is not a flaw in the system. It is the system. Vision builds faith, and faith is the bridge between consciousness and manifestation. If you had all the resources from the beginning, you would not need to exercise faith. You would not need to grow. You would not need to expand your consciousness. And while that might feel frustrating or even unfair, it is actually a divine pattern. It's how consciousness works, not to confuse you, but to prepare you. Think about every major figure who was blessed with wealth and influence. Each one received a vision before they received the resources. The pattern is consistent: vision first, provision later, and in between those two, there is a process, a period of preparation and testing. The gap between your vision and your current reality is not a problem to be solved. It is a space to be filled with faith, assumption, and persistent imagination. That gap is where the magic happens. That gap is where consciousness transforms itself into form. If you've ever been given a vision that felt too big for your current reality, you're in good company. Consciousness doesn't give small visions because it's not small. The gap between your vision and your reality is not a sign that you're wrong. It's a sign that you're called. Many people wait for money to start moving, but in the kingdom of consciousness, movement often precedes money. Consciousness looks for people who act on the vision before it's fully resourced. That's how it measures faith, and faith is what activates favor. Every moment you spend faithfully imagining your vision is a moment you spend building the bridge between where you are and where you are going. My friends, what I have shared with you tonight is not theory. It is the law of consciousness itself. These signs are not random occurrences. They are the natural result of consciousness expanding beyond its current limitations. But here is the most important truth of all. You do not need to wait for these signs to appear. You can create them right now through the power of assumption. You can assume the feeling of wealth, and that assumption will create the very signs I have described. When you assume the feeling of wealth, when you live in your imagination as if you were already wealthy, your consciousness has no choice but to conform to that assumption. The external world, being simply consciousness made visible, must reflect what you have assumed to be true. Tonight, as you listen to these words, you stand at a crossroads. You can continue to live from your current limitations, or you can step into the assumption of wealth. You can remain bound by the evidence of your senses, or you can live from the truth of your imagination. But let me warn you, signs are not the destination. They are the invitation. You must respond. When consciousness gives you a vision, you must act. When it opens a door, you must walk through it. When it sends the right people, you must listen. The choice is yours, and it is the most important choice you will ever make. Because the moment you choose to assume wealth consciousness, the entire universe begins to reorganize itself to support that assumption. Heaven provides the opportunity, but you must take the responsibility. Faith without works is dead. The signs are the spark, but the fire is your responsibility. So I ask you tonight, what will you do with the signs? Will you continue to doubt them, or will you discern them? Will you ignore the small whispers, or will you follow them into fullness? I leave you with this promise. If you will assume the feeling of wealth, if you will live in your imagination as if you were already wealthy, if you will persist in this assumption despite the evidence of your senses, then wealth must manifest in your experience. We are entering a time where those who walk in faith and obedience will see unprecedented favor. I don't say that to excite you. I say that because it's happening all around the world. People are being awakened to new purpose, new ventures, new visions, and those who listen and move will be the stewards of this new wave of wealth. This is not hope. This is law. This is not wishful thinking. This is the way consciousness works. You are not a victim of circumstances. You are the operant power in your own experience. If you're hearing this, you are not disqualified. Your past does not cancel your promise. Consciousness does not call the qualified. It qualifies the called. And if you're seeing these signs, you are being called.
There comes a point in every journey when it seems like nothing is working. You've prayed, believed, visualized, and still no sign. But listen carefully. Everything is coming together for you, even now. The delays, detours, and disappointments are not denials. They are divine rearrangements. You are not being punished. You are being positioned. In the unseen realm, forces are moving, threads are weaving, and pathways are forming in your favor. The universe is orchestrating a symphony you cannot yet hear. Just because your physical eyes see no change does not mean nothing is happening. What you cannot see is often more powerful than what you can. There is a sacred law. What you hold in your inner world must eventually manifest in your outer one. The seed planted in faith cannot die. It must grow when nurtured by persistence. Your imagination is the workshop of creation. Every image you hold in your mind with feeling and belief is forming substance in the invisible. When you imagine yourself already successful, already healed, already at peace, something within you shifts. That shift is not make-believe, it is creation in motion. You become magnetized to that reality, and that reality becomes magnetized to you. The unseen begins to shape itself into form. Do not be deceived by appearances. Many give up because they believe the silence means rejection. But the silence is not rejection, it's preparation. The universe takes time to align every detail so that when the blessing comes, it fits perfectly, effortlessly. Your role is not to rush it, but to remain faithful to your inner conviction. When everything seems darkest, when doubt whispers that it's useless to go on, that's the moment to stand firm, because the night always turns into morning, and you are closer than you think. The energy of faith is cumulative. Every act of belief adds momentum to your unfolding miracle. Keep affirming. It's already done. My path is clear. Everything is coming together for my good. Speak it, even when nothing supports it. Feel it, even when you see no sign of it, because your feeling is the evidence of the unseen. Remember this, it's easy to believe when things look good, but true power is believing when nothing looks possible. That's when creation happens. That's when the invisible becomes visible. That's when you prove the divine power within you. So, don't give up. Don't surrender your vision to temporary conditions. The waiting is not wasted. It's the womb of your next miracle. Keep imagining, keep believing, keep moving forward with quiet confidence. Because one day soon you'll look back and realize every delay, every tear, every test was necessary to bring you here, to the fulfillment of everything you once imagined. Everything is coming together for you. Don't give up, just keep going. Everything begins in the unseen. Long before a flower blooms, the seed rests quietly beneath the surface, hidden from sight, yet filled with purpose. The same is true for your desires. What you long for, peace, success, healing, love, abundance, already exists in the invisible realm, waiting for you to recognize it as yours. The moment you believe and feel it as real within, you activate the divine power that transforms the unseen into the seen. Nothing ever appears in your outer life that was not first accepted in your inner world. You may not realize it, but every thought, every feeling, every assumption you hold is creative. The mind is not a passive observer. It is a spiritual workshop where reality is shaped. When you close your eyes and imagine a life of fulfillment, and when that vision feels natural to you, you are doing the most powerful work there is. You are not daydreaming. You are constructing. You are setting in motion an unseen chain of events that will ultimately rearrange circumstances to match what you have already accepted within. The invisible realm is more real than the visible, for it is the source from which all things arise. Every great invention, every piece of art, every world-changing idea began first as an image in the unseen. The same divine process works in your life. when you choose to believe that your desire already exists, when you feel the joy of its fulfillment in your heart, you are aligning yourself, the energy of creation itself. The outer world cannot resist this alignment for long. It must eventually reflect what you persistently hold as true. The key is faith, not as blind hope, but as inner knowing. Faith is the quiet confidence that even though you cannot yet see it, the reality you've claimed is already complete in spirit. You don't need to strive or struggle. You only need to remain faithful to that inner picture. The more you revisit it, feel it, and dwell in it, the stronger its pull becomes. Life begins to rearrange itself. People appear, opportunities arise, and doors open seemingly by coincidence. But nothing is accidental. You have called it forth by the creative power of your belief. Never be deceived by appearances. The invisible comes first, and the visible merely follows. When you plant a seed, you don't dig it up every day to see if it's growing. You trust the process. Likewise, trust that your unseen creation is unfolding perfectly. Hold to the feeling of already having it, and your faith will translate the unseen into form. You are not waiting for creation to happen. You are living within it now. Every fulfilled desire begins as an inner conviction. When you believe and feel as though it is already yours, the universe cannot help but mirror that truth back to you. What you desire is not far away. It is already formed, awaiting your recognition. Creation begins in the invisible, and once you accept that, you become the conscious author of your destiny. Delay is never denial. What looks like nothing happening is often everything happening behind the scenes. Life has its own rhythm, a divine timing that cannot be rushed or delayed. When you feel stuck or uncertain, when doors seem closed or paths unclear, understand that you are not being punished, you are being prepared. What feels like a pause is really a process. The universe is rearranging people, events, and circumstances to align perfectly with the outcome you've envisioned. Every dream has a gestation period. Just as nature requires time to turn a seed into a tree, your desires need time to take root and mature. You cannot force a flower to bloom before its season, and you cannot rush divine timing. When you believe something isn't working because you cannot see movement, you misunderstand how creation operates. The invisible work must always come first. The delay is a sacred part of the unfolding. It ensures that when your desire manifests, it will arrive in wholeness, not in fragments. When you begin to live from faith instead of frustration, you start to see the beauty of divine timing. What looks like stagnation is often alignment, pieces being placed in the right order, opportunities being prepared, and people being guided to cross your path. The universe operates with precision. Nothing is random. The timing that seems late is often the timing that saves you from mistakes, teaches you deeper trust, and prepares you to handle the blessing when it arrives. If everything came instantly, you would never develop patience, wisdom, or gratitude. The waiting season refines you. It strengthens your faith and clears away resistance. Many times the universe delays what you ask for because it wants to give you more than what you imagined. While you think nothing is happening, everything is being arranged for your ultimate good. The very obstacles that seem to stand in your way are often guiding you toward a greater path than the one you originally planned. You must learn to trust the divine sequence. When your heart says yes, but life says wait, hold on to your vision. Keep your inner faith alive, even when the outer world gives you no evidence. The moment you begin to doubt, remind yourself, What's meant for you cannot miss you. Every delay carries divine intelligence. It's not the universe saying no, it's saying not yet. And when not yet becomes now, it will make perfect sense. Do not measure progress by sight alone. The unseen alignment is working with precision beyond your understanding. The job, the opportunity, the relationship, the dream, it's all in motion, moving toward you even as you wait. You are not forgotten, you are being positioned. Keep believing, keep trusting, and keep preparing as though it's already done. Because one day the doors will open effortlessly, and you'll realize that every delay was a setup for perfect timing. The universe never denies. Persistence is the invisible bridge that connects what you desire to what you eventually experience. Every dream, every goal, every manifestation passes through the corridor of persistence before it becomes reality. Many begin with passion and enthusiasm, but only those who persist, those who hold a vision in the face of delay, doubt, and disappointment, reach the fulfillment of what they imagine. The journey between desire and manifestation is not about struggle, but about steadfast faith. It is about standing firm in your inner conviction, even when the outer world gives you no reason to believe. When you persist in faith, you declare that your inner reality is more powerful than external circumstances. You may not yet see the results, but you continue to feel and live as though the promise is already fulfilled. That unwavering state of belief creates a magnetic force that draws your vision into form. The universe responds not to fleeting wishes, but to consistent conviction. Persistence tells creation, I already know this is mine, and the unseen forces align accordingly. Most people give up not because their dream was impossible, but because they surrendered to appearances. They look at the lack, the delay, the difficulty, and assume it means failure. But appearances are only the temporary shadows of your old thoughts. When you persist in a new state of belief long enough, those shadows dissolve and a new reality emerges. Every great creator understands this. What you assume to be true and persist in as though it were already done must harden into fact. Persistence is not forcing or begging, it is quiet confidence. It is the calm assurance that comes from knowing the law of creation cannot fail. You may fall, you may grow weary, but you return to the feeling of fulfillment again and again until it becomes natural. You persist in thought until it becomes your automatic state. And once the mind accepts it as normal, life reflects it as fact. Every obstacle you face tests your persistence. Every delay whispers, do you still believe? And your answer must always be yes. Keep imagining. Keep affirming. Keep walking by faith and not by sight. The universe rewards those who refuse to let temporary appearances dictate their truth. The more you persist, the more powerful your belief becomes, and the stronger the bridge between desire and manifestation grows. Persistence is not about time. It's about depth. It's about how deeply you've accepted your vision as already real. The person who persists without wavering steps directly into the reality they once imagined. So do not be discouraged by how long it takes. Stay faithful to your inner vision, because once your inner world is consistent, the outer must conform. Those who persist in faith, regardless of appearances, always walk straight into the world they've imagined. Assume the feeling of fulfillment, and you begin to live from the end rather than toward it. To assume is to accept inwardly that what you desire is already yours, that it has already happened in the unseen realm. This is not pretending or wishful thinking, it is a shift in consciousness. The moment you feel the reality of your desire, you awaken the creative power within that draws circumstances, people, and opportunities into harmony with that state. Your inner world becomes the blueprint that the outer world must eventually follow. Most people live in a constant state of wanting. They speak, think, and feel from lack, hoping for change, but never assuming the change has already occurred. Yet the law of creation works through assumption. What you feel yourself to be determines what you will experience. If you feel poor, you continue to attract lack. If you feel unloved, you continue to attract rejection. But the instant you assume the feeling of already having your desire, wealth, love, success, peace, you activate the unseen forces that transform your world to match that vibration. Feeling is the secret key. Words alone do not create, emotion does. When your imagination and feeling become one, you move creation from potential to reality. Close your eyes and live inwardly as though your dream were already fulfilled. Feel the relief, the joy, the gratitude of it is done. Dwell in that emotion until it feels natural, until you no longer crave it because you have already become it in consciousness. The universe does not respond to words. It responds to states of being. When you assume the feeling of fulfillment, you are no longer chasing your desire, you are radiating it. The world reflects back what you are, not what you wish for. Every time you return to that inner state, you strengthen its magnetic pull. Outer circumstances begin to shift subtly at first, then dramatically, as everything reorganizes itself to match the frequency you are emitting. What once seemed impossible begins to flow effortlessly, because your assumption has become your reality. Doubt will try to invade your mind. Appearances will tempt you to revert to old feelings of lack or worry. But the key is persistence in your assumption. Return to the feeling of fulfillment again and again until it dominates your awareness. Even if nothing seems to change, keep living from the end. The unseen realm responds to consistency. Your sustained assumption becomes the command that the universe must obey. This is the art of conscious creation. To dwell in the state of already having, to feel the victory before the battle, to embody the answered prayer before it appears. Once your inner world accepts it as truth, your outer world cannot resist reflecting it. Live inwardly as though the dream has already come true, and soon what was once invisible will stand before you as undeniable reality. The middle is the hardest, but also the holiest. It's the space between believing and receiving, the stretch between the promise and its fulfillment. It's where doubt whispers loudest, where patience is tested, and where faith must stand alone. Yet even though it feels like nothing is happening, everything is happening. The invisible construction site of your destiny is alive and active, arranging every piece of your future with divine precision. You cannot yet see the blueprint, but heaven is building in silence. The middle feels hard because it asks you to trust without proof. It asks you to walk by faith when sight gives you no encouragement. This is where many give up. Not because the dream was impossible, but because the silence convinced them it was over. But silence is not absence. Stillness is not stagnation. When life seems quiet and motionless, it's often when divine movement is at its peak. The unseen world is busy aligning every detail, every person, and every opportunity required for your manifestation. In this sacred in-between, your inner state matters most. You are being refined, strengthened, and prepared for what you've asked for. The middle is not punishment, it's preparation. You're being molded into the version of yourself capable of holding the blessing. What you call delay is actually transformation. The universe is making sure that when the door opens, you're ready to walk through it with wisdom, gratitude, and strength. Every masterpiece requires time to take form. The builder doesn't panic when the foundation is being laid, even though there's nothing beautiful to see yet. The same is true for your life. The groundwork of your destiny is being set beneath the surface. The waiting season is where your faith becomes real. It's where belief evolves from theory to truth. The middle teaches you how to stand on unseen ground and trust that what you planted in faith will bloom in divine timing. In these moments, resist the urge to complain or despair. Instead, become still and remind yourself something sacred is happening behind the scenes. Your prayers were heard the first time you spoke them. The answer is unfolding in ways you cannot yet comprehend. Every silence is filled with divine activity. Every pause has purpose. So hold steady. Keep your heart fixed on the vision even when nothing seems to support it. Keep speaking life. Keep imagining. Keep thanking as if it were already done. The middle may feel like the hardest part of the journey, but it's also the holiest. It's where faith matures, where patience deepens, and where you are quietly shaped into the vessel that can carry your miracle. One day, you look back and realize that the middle wasn't a delay. It was the place where the invisible became visible. Your faith is the architect of your reality. Every thought you hold as true, every belief you nurture within, becomes a line drawn on the blueprint of your life. Faith is the silent designer behind every visible outcome. It builds, shapes, and constructs the world you live in, brick by brick, moment by moment. You may not realize it, but your outer world is always mirroring your inner conviction. What you accept as true, whether good or bad, becomes your experience. Life does not respond to chance. It responds to belief. Faith is not something you try to have, it's something you embody. It is the unwavering trust that what you have envisioned is already complete, even before your senses can confirm it. When you believe deeply enough, the unseen begins to solidify into form. Every time you choose faith over fear, you rewrite your destiny. Fear builds walls, but faith builds bridges. Fear limits, faith expands. Fear sees lack, faith sees completion. And the one you entertain the longest becomes the foundation of your reality. When you believe that you are guided, provided for, and supported by divine intelligence, life starts to move in harmony with that truth. Opportunities appear, people arrive, and doors open, not because of luck, but because your faith created the pathway for them. The moment you accept something as true within, you instruct the universe to rearrange itself to make it visible without. You become the architect and the builder of your own destiny. There will always be moments when appearances contradict your belief. You may face delays, setbacks, or silence. But that's where true faith is tested and strengthened. Faith does not depend on sight. It thrives in the unseen. It remains steady when the evidence says otherwise. To keep believing in the face of doubt is to hold the line of creation. It is to say, I know what I have accepted as true, and I will not be moved. That persistence in conviction bends reality to your will. You must understand that life mirrors your inner dialogue. If you constantly affirm fear, limitation, or defeat, you draw more of the same. But if you affirm victory, abundance, and peace, even when circumstances deny it, you are sketching a new design for your life. Every act of belief, every moment of inner certainty adds another stroke to the divine blueprint. Eventually, what you've drawn in faith will be built in experience. Eventually, what you've drawn in faith will be built in experience. So guard your thoughts and nurture your belief. Choose to see beyond appearances. Keep believing, even when logic fails you. The unseen is always stronger than the seen, and faith will always outlast fear. You are not at the mercy of circumstances. You are the architect of them. Stand firm in your conviction, knowing that what you believe becomes what you build. Faith is the hand that drafts the plan, and life itself is the structure that rises to match it. In the end, everything you've ever desired, prayed for, or imagined is already in motion. The unseen world is working tirelessly on your behalf, aligning every detail to fulfill the vision you've held within. Every delay has purpose. Every challenge refines you, and every silent season builds your strength. Nothing has been wasted. The dream you've been nurturing in faith is not in vain. It's being constructed in the invisible, waiting for the perfect moment to reveal itself. So keep believing, keep imagining, and keep moving forward with quiet confidence. You are not forgotten. You are being formed. You are not behind. You are right on schedule. Creation began the moment you believed, and it continues to unfold through your persistence and unwavering faith. The universe responds to conviction, not confusion, to faith, not fear. Walk as though it's already done, speak as though it's already yours, feel as though it's already complete, because in truth, it is. The bridge between where you are and where you're going is built on trust. And as you hold fast to that faith, life will mirror your belief with beauty, abundance, and divine perfection. Everything is coming together for you. Stay patient, stay faithful, and never give up, because what's meant for you cannot miss you. Thank you for listening, and remember, your faith is the key. Your imagination is the blueprint, and your persistence is the power that makes all things possible. Keep going. Your miracle is already on its way.
You may wonder, what does it mean to do it alone? Is it a call to isolation? A rejection of the world around us? No, my beloved, it is quite the opposite. To do it alone is to recognize the divinity within you, to understand that you are the operant power in your world, and that all creation begins in the sanctum of your own mind. The outer world, the people in your life, they are all vital and beautiful parts of your experience. But understand this, they are not the cause of your experience, they are the effect. They are the reflections of your inner state, the manifestations of your consciousness. When you truly grasp this, when you internalize the knowledge that you are the efferent power, you will see that all the help you need, all the love you seek, all the success you desire, it all begins within you. You do not need to manipulate others or beg the world for favors. You need only to adjust your inner state, to align your consciousness with your desires, and the outer world will rearrange itself to match your envision. This, my dear friends, is the true meaning of doing it alone. It is the recognition that you are not a mere fragment in a vast, uncaring universe, but that you are the universe itself, focused into this particular point of time and space. You are God in distribution. experiencing yourself through the vessel of your human form. Now let us explore how this principle applies to your daily life. Imagine you desire a new job, a position that fills you with excitement and purpose. The common approach would be to scour job listings, to network feverishly, to plead your case to potential employers. And while these outer actions may have their place, they are not the source of your success. Instead, I urge you to do it alone. Retreat into the theater of your mind. There, in that sacred space, see yourself already occupying that position. Feel the satisfaction of doing work that inspires you. Hear the congratulations of your colleagues. Experience the pride of your loved ones. Make this inner experience so vivid, so real, that when you open your eyes, you will be surprised to find yourself still in your current circumstances. This, my friends, is the art of assumption. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, when you live from the end as if it were already a reality, you set in motion forces beyond your conscious understanding. The entire universe conspires to bring about the conditions that match your inner state. But remember, this is not mere positive thinking or idle daydreaming. This is a fundamental shift in your concept of self. You are not trying to change things. You are changing the thinker. You are revising your own identity to match your desire. Let me share with you a profound truth. The outer world is dead. Yes, you heard me correctly. The world you perceive with your senses is but a shadow, a reflection of past thoughts and assumptions. It has no power to create, no ability to cause. It can only reflect what you hold in your consciousness. This may seem a stark statement, perhaps even a disturbing one, but I assure you it is the key to your freedom. For if the outer world is dead, if it has no power to create or cause, then you are liberated from its seeming constraints. You are free to create anew, to assume a new state of consciousness, and to watch as the outer world reshapes itself to match your inner vision. This is why I implore you to do it alone. For in the solitude of your consciousness, in the privacy of your imagination, you hold the power to reshape your entire existence. No one else can do this for you. No external force can grant you this power. It is your birthright, your inherent nature as a creative being. Consider the great inventors and innovators throughout history. Did they not first conceive their creations in the solitude of their minds? Did not every great work of art, every scientific breakthrough, every technological marvel first exist as a seed in someone's imagination? These individuals understood, perhaps intuitively, the power of doing it alone. But let us be clear, doing it alone does not mean you must physically isolate yourself from others. It does not mean you should reject help or collaboration when it presents itself. Rather, it means that you recognize that the primary creative act occurs within you. The outer actions, the physical steps you take, are simply the outward expression of an inner conviction. Think of it this way. When you plant a seed in the ground, do you dig it up every day to check its progress? Do you attempt to force the sprout to emerge, to manipulate the leaves into unfurling? Of course not. You plant the seed, you provide the proper conditions, and then you allow the innate intelligence within that seed to do its work. Your desires, your goals, your aspirations. These are seeds you plant in the fertile soil of your consciousness. Your task is not to force them into manifestation through sheer will or endless action. Your task is to plant them properly, to nurture them with your assumption of their fulfillment, and then to allow them to grow and manifest in their own divine timing. This is the art of doing it alone. It is the recognition that you are the gardener of your own mind, the cultivator of our own reality. No one else can plant these seeds for you. No one else can assume the sealing of their fulfillment on your behalf. This is your sacred duty, your divine right, and your ultimate power. Now, some of you may be thinking, what about the challenges I face? What about the obstacles in my path to this? I say these challenges, these obstacles, they are not what you think they are. They are not external forces conspiring against you. They are not proof of your limitations or your unworthiness. No, my dear friends, these challenges are invitations. They are calls to go deeper into yourself, to strengthen your conviction, to purify assumption. Every obstacle you face is an opportunity to do it alone, to retreat into the workroom of your imagination, and to revise your concept of self. Remember, the outer world can only reflect what you hold in consciousness. If you accept the obstacle as real, if you allow it to shake your conviction, then you give it power over you. But if you recognize it for what it truly is, a shadow, a reflection of past thoughts, then you can dissolve it in the light of your new assumption. This is why I often speak of revision. When you face a challenge or encounter an undesirable circumstance, do not accept it as final. Do not allow it to define your reality. Instead, in the privacy of your imagination, revise the event. See it unfolding as you would have preferred. Feel the relief, the joy, the satisfaction of this revised version. You might ask, but how can I revise something that has already happened? And to this, I say time is an illusion. The past, present, and future exist simultaneously in the eternal now of your consciousness. When you revise an event in your imagination, you are not changing the past in a linear sense. You are selecting a different version of events from the infinite possibilities that exist in the dimension of consciousness. This is the power of doing it alone. In the solitude of your mind, you can revise any event, reshape any circumstance, and redefine any aspect of your life. The outer world, bound as it is to reflect your inner state, must then rearrange itself to match your new assumption. But let us delve even deeper into this concept of doing it alone. It is not merely about manifesting specific desires or revising unwanted events. It is about a fundamental shift in your understanding of who and what you are. You see, when I speak of doing it alone, I am pointing you towards the realization of your true identity. You are not the limited mortal creature you appear to be. You are not defined by your circumstances, your past, or the opinions of others. You are, in truth, the very essence of creation itself, temporarily focused into this particular point of view. This is why no one else can do it for you. This is why all the self-help books, all the motivational seminars, all the well-meaning advice from friends and family are potentially useful, can never be the source of your transformation. They can point the way, they can offer techniques and insights, but the actual work, the sacred labor of consciousness, can only be done by you alone. Now, let us consider how this principle of doing it alone applies to your relationships with others. Some of you might worry that this teaching promotes selfishness or isolation. Nothing could be further from the truth. When you learn to do it alone, when you recognize your own divine nature, you become capable of truly loving others. You see, most human relationships are based on need, on the belief that we are incomplete without the other. We seek in others what we believe we lack in ourselves. But when you know that you are complete, that you contain within yourself the fullness of being, then your relationships transform. You no longer approach others from a place of lack or need, but from a place of love. This is the paradox of doing it alone. It enables you to connect more deeply with others. For when you no longer need others to complete you, you can appreciate them for who they truly are. You can love them freely without conditions or expectations. You can allow them to be themselves without trying to change them to fit your needs. Consider the sun. Does it shine only on those it deems worthy? Does it withhold its light from those it judges undeserving? No, it shines on all equally, giving of itself freely and abundantly. This is how you will relate to others when you master the art of doing it alone. You will be like the sun, radiating love and creativity, not because you need anything in return, but because it is your nature to do so. But to reach this state, you must first do the inner work alone. You must confront your own shadows, face your own fears, and dissolve your own limiting beliefs. This is not always easy. It requires courage, persistence, and faith. But I assure you, my dear friends, the rewards are beyond anything you can imagine. For when you learn to do it alone, you discover that you are never truly alone. You realize that you are one with the creative power of the universe. You understand that all things are possible to you, for you are the very substance from which all things are formed. This is why I often speak of the state of wish fulfilled. When you enter into the feeling of your wish fulfilled, when you live from the end as if your desire were already a reality, you are doing it alone, in the true sense. You are not waiting for external circumstances to change. You are not dependent on the actions or approval of others. You are creating from within, shaping your reality through the power of your assumption. But remember, this is not about forcing or struggling. It is not about willpower in the conventional sense. It is about aligning yourself with the natural creative process of the universe. Just as a seed does not stray to become a tree, you do not need to stray to manifest your desires. You need only to assume alone, if I am the creator of my reality, why do I sometimes experience unwanted circumstances? Why do I face challenges and difficulties? This is a profound question, and it strikes at the heart of our discussion. The answer lies in understanding the nature of consciousness and the process of creation. You see, your outer world is not created by your conscious thoughts alone. It is shaped by the totality of your consciousness, including your deepest beliefs, your habitual thoughts, and even the aspects of yourself that you may not be consciously aware of. When you experience unwanted circumstances, it is not a failure of your creative power. It is simply a reflection of simply the outpicturing of consciousness. By changing your consciousness, you literally change your world. You must understand that every imagined scenario exists as a reality in the dimension of consciousness. When you imagine yourself in a desired state, you are not creating something new. You are tuning into an already existing reality, a version of yourself that already possesses what you desire. Your task then is not to create this reality, but to align yourself with it. This alignment happens within you, in the privacy of your own consciousness. It is a solitary act, a sacred communion between you and the infinite possibilities that exist within you. This is the deepest meaning of doing it alone. It is the recognition that you are the operant power in your world, that you are the one who selects and animates the particular version of reality you experience. No one else can do this for you. No external power can grant you this ability. It is your inherent nature, your divine birthright. But let us be clear, doing it alone does not mean you must struggle or strain. It does not mean you must cut yourself off from others or reject help when it is offered. Rather, it means recognizing that the primary creative act occurs within you, in the realm of your imagination and assumption. Think of it this way when you go to sleep at night. Do you worry about how your heart will continue to beat, how your lungs will continue to breathe? Of course not. You trust in the innate wisdom of your body to carry out these functions without your conscious control. In the same way, when you plant a seed in your consciousness, through imagination and assumption, you can trust in the innate creative power of your being to bring it to fruition. Your role is to plant the seed, to nurture it with your faith and expectancy, and then to allow it to grow and manifest in its own divine timing. This allowing, this trust, is itself a form of doing it alone. It requires you to release your attachment to external results, to let go of your need to control every aspect of the manifestation process. It asks you to have faith in your own creative power, to trust in the wisdom of your own being. Now, some of you may be wondering, but what about action? Don't we need to take action in the world to achieve our goals? This is an excellent question, and it brings us to a crucial point in our discussion. Action is indeed important, but not in the way most people think. You see, inspired action flows naturally from a changed state of consciousness. When you have truly assumed the feeling of your wish fulfilled, when you are living from the end, the appropriate actions will arise spontaneously. You will find yourself naturally doing the things that lead to the manifestation of your desire. This is very different from the common approach of trying to force results through sheer willpower or endless activity. Such forced action often comes from a place of lack or fear, and it rarely leads to lasting fulfillment. Instead, when you do it alone, when you change your state of consciousness first, your actions become effortless expressions of your new state of being. Consider the example of learning a new skill, like playing a musical instrument. At first, your actions may feel forced and unnatural. You have to consciously think about every movement, every note. But as you practice, as you begin to embody the state of being a musician, your actions become more fluid, more natural. You no longer have to think about every little movement. The music simply flows through you. This is how manifestation works when you truly understand the principle of doing it alone. You don't force the outer actions. You change your inner state, and the appropriate actions flow naturally from that state. But there's an even deeper truth here, my dear friends. As you advance in your understanding and application of these principles, you may find that less and less outer action is required. For when you are truly aligned with your desire and consciousness, the entire universe moves to bring about its manifestation. This is what I mean when I say that creation is finished. All possible states, all possible versions of reality already exist in the dimension of consciousness. Your task is not to create these realities, but to select and animate the one you desire through your assumption and feeling. This selection, this animation happens within you. It is a solitary act, a sacred communion between you and the infinite possibilities that exist within you. This is why no one else can do it for you. This is why you must do it alone. But remember, doing it alone does not mean you are separate or isolated from the world around you. Quite the opposite. When you master the art of doing it alone, you realize your oneness with all of creation. You understand that the entire universe is yourself pushed out, that every person in every circumstance in your life is a reflection of your own consciousness. This realization is profoundly liberating, for it means that you are not at the mercy of external circumstances. You are not a victim of fate or chance. You are the author of your own story, the creator of your own reality. But let us delve even deeper into this concept. When I say do it alone, I am not just referring to the manifestation of specific desires or the achievement of particular goals. I am pointing you towards a fundamental shift in your understanding of who and what you are. You see, my beloved, you are not the limited mortal creature you appear to be. You are not defined by your body, your circumstances, or your personal history. These are but costumes you wear, roles you play in the grand drama of existence. Your true identity is far greater, far more magnificent than you can possibly imagine. You are in essence the very consciousness from which all things arise. You are the dreamer of this dream we call life. When you truly grasp this, when you fully embody this truth, the idea of doing it alone takes on a whole new meaning. For you realize that there is no other to rely on, no external source of power or wisdom to appeal to. You are it. You are all there is. This realization can be both exhilarating and terrifying. It means that you are fully responsible for your experience of life. It means that you can no longer blame others or circumstances for your situation. But it also means that you have the power to change anything and everything in your life. Consider for a moment the implications of this truth. If you are the dreamer of your life, then everything and everyone in your experience is a reflection of your own consciousness. The people you interact with, the circumstances you encounter, the very world you perceive, all of it is you pushed out. This is why doing it alone is so crucial. For if everything is a reflection of your consciousness, then the only place where change can truly occur is within you. The outer world being a reflection can only change when you change. But here's the beautiful paradox, when you fully embrace the idea of doing it alone. When you take complete responsibility for your life experience, you also realize your profound connection to all of existence. For if you are the dreamer of your life, and if everything in your experience is you pushed out, then you are, in a very real sense, everything and everyone. This realization dissolves the illusion of separation. It reveals the underlying unity of all things. And from this place of unity, true love and compassion naturally arise. For how can you not love others when you recognize them as aspects of yourself? This is why the great spiritual teachers throughout history have emphasized self-realization. They understood that true transformation, true liberation can only come from within. They knew that each of us must make this journey alone, must discover our true nature for ourselves. As you continue on this path of doing it alone, you will begin to experience life in a completely new way. You will no longer feel at the mercy of external circumstances. You will no longer seek validation or approval from others. You will stand firm in the knowledge of your own divine nature, your own creative power. From this place of inner certainty, you will find that life begins to flow with an ease and grace you never thought possible. Opportunities will seem to arise spontaneously. Desires will manifest with surprising speed and in unexpected ways. You will experience a deep sense of peace and fulfillment, regardless of outer conditions. But perhaps the most beautiful transformation will be in your relationships with others. As you learn to do it alone, as you discover your own completeness, you will no longer approach relationships from a place of need or lack. Instead, you will come from a place of fullness, of love freely given without condition or expectation. You will see others not as separate entities to be manipulated or controlled, but as beloved aspects of yourself, as unique expressions of the same consciousness that you are. This shift in perception will transform all your relationships, bringing a depth of love and understanding you may have thought impossible. And as you move through the world from this state of consciousness, you will naturally inspire others. Without effort or intention, you will serve as a living example of what is possible. Your very being will be a testament to the power of doing it alone, of taking responsibility for one's own consciousness. But remember, my dear friends, this is not about becoming some perfect, flawless being. It is about embracing all aspects of yourself, including your perceived flaws and weaknesses. For these too are part of the magnificent tapestry of your being, part of the unique way in which the infinite expresses itself through you. Doing it alone means loving all of yourself, accepting all of your experiences. This teaching, take it into your hearts and minds, test it in the laboratory of your own experience, For it is only through your own direct experience that you will truly understand the power and the beauty of doing it alone. Remember, you are not separate from the creative power of the universe. You are that very power, focused into this particular point of view. You are the operant power in your world, the author of your own story, the creator of your own reality. Embrace this truth, live from this understanding, do it alone, and watch as your world transforms before your very eyes. Go forth from this place with a new understanding of your.
There comes a sacred moment in every life when the invisible begins to move, when what once felt heavy begins to lift, and you can sense something is shifting. You can't quite explain it, but deep within, you know. The tide has turned in your favor. This shift doesn't begin outside of you. It begins in the silence. When you dare to believe that what you desire is already yours. The world may look unchanged. The facts may still argue against you, but faith knows what reason cannot see. Everything you see around you is a mirror, a reflection of what you have been assuming to be true about yourself. Change that assumption, and you change the reflection. When you decide, I am already favored, already blessed, already chosen, life rearranges itself to make it so. The shift has begun, not because the world is suddenly different, but because you are. You have stopped rehearsing your limitations. You have stopped repeating the old story. You have turned inward and begun to see yourself as the one who already possesses what you once chased. This is the divine law at work. The outer must conform to the inner. The moment you accept that truth, the process is set in motion. Everything begins moving toward the fulfillment of your new assumption. Doors open, paths appear, people show up. What once resisted you now recognizes you. It may not look like progress at first. Sometimes the old must crumble before the new can rise. But even the crumbling is favor. Even the detours are alignment. When life seems to fall apart, it's only falling into place at a higher level. So do not look to appearances. Feel the reality within. Live in the end of your desire. Walk through your days as though it is already done, because in the unseen, it is. The shift is not coming, it has already begun. You are being guided, favored, and supported in ways beyond your comprehension. The old patterns are dissolving. The old limitations are losing power. Every cell of your being is aligning with your higher vision. This is your season of transformation. Everything is changing, not to test you, but to bless you. Everything is turning in your favor, even the things that don't yet make sense. Trust the divine process. Trust the unseen hand that moves the pieces perfectly. Stand tall in your faith. Speak as though it's already yours. Feel as though it's already here. The shift has begun, and this time it's permanent. The unseen world governs the seen world. Everything you experience externally is an echo of your inner state of being. The greatest illusion of human life is believing that the world outside of us holds power over us. We are taught to react, to adjust, to adapt to circumstances as though they were independent forces shaping our destiny. Yet the truth is far more profound. The outer world is only a reflection a mirror image of what we hold within. What we see, touch, and live through is not a cause, it is an effect. The cause is invisible, rooted in the thoughts we nurture, the emotions we dwell in, and the beliefs we quietly entertain when no one is watching. The law changes to a loving. We talk, we walk, we dream. Every experience in your life, every triumph and every struggle has its origin in this unseen realm of consciousness. It is not chance, not luck, not even effort that shapes your reality, but the vibration of your inner state. When you live in fear, the world mirrors fear back to you through delays, conflicts, and disappointments. When you live in peace, life responds with harmony. The external merely obeys the internal, the way a shadow follows the body that casts it. This is why true transformation never begins with circumstances. It begins with awareness. It begins when you realize that changing the world without changing the self is like repainting the reflection in a mirror and expecting the face to change. To alter the reflection, you must become something new within. The invisible thoughts, the quiet assumptions, the inner conversations you repeat daily, they are the architects of your world. The unseen governs the seen. When you understand this truth, you stop fighting life. You stop blaming conditions, people, and time. You begin to see that your outer experiences are invitations, not punishments, pointing you back to what must be shifted within. If your relationships feel distant, ask where in your heart you have been withholding love. If opportunities seem scarce, ask where in your mind you have been doubting your worth. Every external experience reveals the invisible pattern of thought that produced it. The world is faithful to the image you hold of yourself. You cannot experience what you have not assumed to be true in consciousness. The world bows to your dominant belief, even if that belief is hidden behind words of faith. This is why you must tend carefully to your inner garden. Every thought is a seed, and the harvest must come. Choose thoughts that align with the life you wish to live, and reality will reshape itself accordingly. The unseen world is not distant, it is immediate, personal, and responsive. It moves with your every feeling. The moment you lift your inner state to one of gratitude, expectancy, and quiet confidence, the unseen begins to stir. Circumstances realign, people shift, opportunities emerge. The outer begins to echo the new song of your soul. A shift begins the moment you change your assumption. Life rearranges itself to match the new belief you hold as true. Everything that happens to you, everything that unfolds in your experience, originates from what you assume to be real about yourself and your world. Assumptions are not mere thoughts. They are deeply held convictions, often quiet and unconscious, about what is possible for you. They are the hidden roots beneath the visible tree of your life. What you assume becomes the law of your experience, and until that assumption changes, nothing truly changes, no matter how much effort you exert. The world around you is fluid, responsive, and obedient to the inner blueprint of your belief. You may think that change requires time, opportunity, or external conditions to improve, but it doesn't. The real transformation occurs the instant you adopt a new inner stance, a new certainty of being. When you dare to assume, with conviction, that you already are the person you desire to be, the energy of life begins to organize itself to mirror that state back to you. You do not have to force it, manipulate it, or beg for it. Life knows exactly how to bring the outer picture into harmony with your inner conviction. This is the mystery of the shift. It does not begin when circumstances appear to improve, but when you decide within yourself to see differently. The moment you change the way you perceive yourself, from limited to capable, from unworthy to chosen, from overlooked to favored, the universe begins its invisible work. People, events, and situations start moving in unseen ways, forming the bridge of incidents that will lead you effortlessly to the fulfillment of your new assumption. It may look like coincidence, but it is divine orchestration. Most people wait for evidence before they believe, but the wise understand that evidence follows belief. The outer is simply catching up to the inner decision. The shift begins when you no longer seek proof, but live as though your desire were already real. You walk differently, speak differently, and think differently because your assumption has changed. That inner certainty radiates through your words and actions, and reality has no choice but to conform. Changing your assumption is not pretending or wishing, it is awakening to a deeper truth about who you are, the creative power behind your own experience. You assume because you know that consciousness creates. You choose your belief not because the world confirms it, but because you understand that your belief will make the world confirm it. So, when you find yourself trapped in old patterns, stop struggling against the visible facts. Instead, enter the inner realm and make a new assumption. Declare it to yourself quietly but firmly, I am already living in my desired reality. Feel the relief, the joy, the peace of that truth. Remain faithful to that feeling and watch how life, in its infinite intelligence, rearranges itself with perfect precision to reflect your new state of being. The shift begins the moment you do. You are not waiting for change, you are becoming it. As your inner vibration shifts, reality must follow. The idea of waiting for life to improve keeps countless souls in a quiet state of stagnation. They wait for better timing, for doors to open, for signs to appear, but nothing truly changes through waiting. Real transformation happens when you awaken to the truth that change is not something that comes to you. It is something that flows from you. The energy you carry, your vibration, your mood, your self-concept is constantly creating. Every thought, emotion, and mental image you hold is sending a signal to the universe, declaring who you believe yourself to be. Life, then, mirrors that belief with unwavering precision. To become the change means to embody within yourself the very reality you seek. You do not wait for joy to appear before you feel joyful. You choose joy, and joy calls to itself. You do not wait for love to arrive before you feel loved. You cultivate love within, and love manifests in form. This is not a metaphor, it is a spiritual law. The outer world cannot resist the dominant vibration you hold inside. As your inner frequency rises, life must rearrange itself to match it. Just as a tuning fork vibrates in harmony with another, many people live as though they are powerless observers of life, hoping something external will shift so that they can finally feel better. But the secret is that the moment you lift your state of being, the moment you choose to feel the reality of your desire now, you have already begun the transformation. You become aligned with the new version of yourself, the one who no longer seeks but possesses, no longer doubts but knows. The more you dwell in that state, the faster your physical world catches up. Becoming change requires courage, for it demands that you release your old story, the version of yourself that explains why things haven't worked, why they're hard, why you must wait. That identity feels familiar, even safe, but it is the very vibration that sustains your current reality. When you decide to embody a higher state, confidence, abundance, peace, or purpose, you dissolve the energetic patterns that held you in limitation. You do not need to force the outer world to comply. The unseen laws of consciousness ensure that as the inner state changes, the reflection must follow. Imagine your life as a mirror. You cannot smile at your reflection until you smile first. In the same way, you cannot see outer transformation until you radiate inner transformation. The shift is instant, though the visible results unfold naturally over time. As you persist in your new vibration, walking, speaking, and acting from that elevated state, life bends toward your new reality. You are not a passive participant in creation, you are the cause of it. Every moment you choose a higher thought, a higher feeling, a higher assumption, you are becoming the very change you once longed for. And when you become it within, the world has no choice but to reflect it without. Circumstances are not causes, they are reflections. Every event is simply mirroring your consciousness back to you. This truth, once fully understood, dissolves the illusion of victimhood and restores your creative power. Life does not happen to you, it happens through you. Every situation, whether pleasant or painful, is a projection of your inner state made visible. The outer world is not the author of your story, it is the page upon which your inner assumptions are written. When you understand this, you stop fighting the mirror and start transforming the image within. Most people live believing that circumstances are the source of their feelings. They think, I'm unhappy because of what's happening, or I'm confident because things are working out. Yet the law is the reverse. Your feelings and beliefs are what shape what happens. The world is your mirror, faithfully reflecting your dominant state of consciousness. When you hold a belief long enough of lack, fear, rejection, or unworthiness, that vibration impresses itself upon reality. And life obliges by bringing you experiences that match it, not as punishment, but as a revelation, to show you what is active within you. When you meet difficulty, do not resist it. See it as feedback, a reflection of where your consciousness has been dwelling. The event is not the enemy. It is information. It shows you what you have been assuming to be true about yourself and your world. If you change the assumption, the reflection must change. This is the law. No mirror can show you a different face than the one you present before it. Likewise, no life circumstance can continue once its inner cause has been dissolved. To live wisely is to see every outer condition as an effect and to trace it back to its cause within. This empowers you to stop reacting and start creating. Instead of trying to fix a reflection, to rearrange the shadows, you adjust the light source, your own consciousness. When you assume the feeling of peace, even amid chaos, life begins to mirror that calm back to you through people, events, and outcomes that match it. When you assume success, opportunities seem to emerge out of nowhere. The mirror does not argue, it simply reflects. This understanding is not about blaming yourself for what you experience, it's about reclaiming responsibility for your creative power. You are not at the mercy of circumstances because circumstances have no independent life. They are animated by the state of being you occupy. When your inner conversations change, when you stop speaking lack and start speaking abundance, stop imagining rejection and start imagining acceptance, the film of reality begins to rewrite itself frame by frame. Every event, every delay, every encounter is showing you your own consciousness objectified. The world outside is your inner world, expressed in form. Change your consciousness and you change your world. The power has always been yours, hidden not in circumstances, but in the awareness that gives them meaning. The divine order never fails. When you align with faith and expectancy, even delays become divine timing. There is a perfect intelligence orchestrating every detail of your life, an unseen harmony that moves beyond logic and beyond the limits of time. This divine order operates with flawless precision. To the mind, it may appear as delay, uncertainty, or even disappointment, but from the higher perspective of spirit, it is all unfolding in exact alignment with your growth, your readiness, and your destiny. Nothing is ever late. Nothing is ever lost. Everything is arriving exactly when it should, in the perfect sequence for your evolution. Faith is the bridge between your desire and its manifestation. When you live in faith, you live in harmony with divine order. You stop striving and start trusting. You no longer chase outcomes or force results. Instead, you hold your vision in calm expectancy, knowing that what is yours cannot be taken, delayed, or denied. Faith is not passive waiting. It is active knowing. It is the quiet confidence that beneath the appearance of stillness, the unseen forces of life are moving mountains on your behalf. When you align yourself with this truth, your energy shifts from anxiety to assurance. You stop asking, when will it happen? And begin to declare, it is already happening, though I cannot yet see it. The vibration of that certainty is what opens the way for divine order to express itself without resistance. What once looked like obstacles begin to reveal themselves as stepping stones. The detours you resented turn out to be divine redirections, placing you in the right place, at the right time, with the right people, and transform you into every opportunity and into the right life. The ego wants control. It wants to predict, to plan, to measure progress. But the divine plan is woven from threads of infinite wisdom, and often what seems like delay is preparation. The unseen is aligning circumstances in ways your mind could never calculate. Sometimes the timing must wait until another heart softens, another door opens, or another lesson within you takes root. The divine order never forgets, never overlooks, never fails. It remembers the vibration of every prayer and responds with precision. Faith and expectancy are your alignment tools. Faith says, I trust that the unseen is working perfectly. Expectancy says, I am ready to receive. Together, they tune your inner being to the rhythm of divine timing. Even when appearances suggest stillness, faith whispers, something is happening. Even when the road seems uncertain, expectancy assures it's unfolding exactly as it should. Even when the road seems uncertain, expectancy assures it's unfolding exactly as it should. Every delay is a sacred interval in which life is preparing you for what you have asked for. If you could see the divine choreography behind every pause, you would never doubt again. The divine order never fails. It cannot. Its wisdom is infinite, its timing flawless. And when you align your heart with trust, patience, and joyful expectancy, you will discover that everything you desire has been on its way all along, moving toward you with divine precision, right on time. The new world is already here. Your task is not to create it, but to awaken to it within your imagination and walk as if it were done. So often we believe that change lies somewhere ahead, that the life we desire exists in some distant future we must chase or earn, yet the truth is far more powerful. What you seek is not coming, it already exists. Every possible reality already lives in the unseen dimension of consciousness. Possible reality already lives in the unseen dimension of consciousness. You do not create your desires from nothing. You awaken to the dimension where they already exist. The act of creation is really the act of recognition, realizing that the world you long for is already complete and waiting for your awareness to claim it. Imagination is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. It is not mere fantasy. It is the creative act of God expressing through you. When you imagine something with conviction and feeling, you are tuning your consciousness to that reality. You are aligning your inner frequency with the world in which that vision is already true. The moment you do this sincerely, the moment you feel yourself in possession of your desire, the unseen begins to rearrange itself to reflect that state. Life must mirror your awareness, for consciousness is the only true cause. The mistake many make is believing they must work, struggle, or strive to make their dreams real, but creation is already finished. Everything you could ever hope for, peace, abundance, love, purpose, exists now in potential form. The door to that reality opens not through effort, but through belief. You awaken to it by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, by living in the end of your desire as if it were already so. This is not pretending, it is participating in divine law. When you walk as though it is done, you signal to the universe that you have recognized your true state, and reality responds accordingly. The new world you desire is not separate from you, it exists within you. It is the dimension of consciousness that corresponds to your highest vision of yourself. Every time you close your eyes and feel the reality of your fulfilled desire, not as a hope, but as a fact, you step into that world. You begin to see differently, act differently, speak differently. You carry a new vibration, and that vibration calls forth the outer conditions that match it. There is no future moment when you will become who you wish to be. There is only the now in which you accept that you already are. The new world reveals itself when you stop waiting for proof and start walking in faith. The outer world bends to the inner certainty. You are not here to struggle for creation. You are here to awaken to completion. Everything you've asked for is already done. Your task is to remember it, to feel it, to live as though it were already real. When you do, the invisible becomes visible, and the new world that always existed within you unfolds before your eyes. The truth is simple, yet profoundly powerful. Everything begins and ends within you. The world you experience is not happening to you. It is happening through you. The unseen governs the seen. The shift does not wait for external permission. It begins the instant you choose to see differently, to believe differently, to be differently. You are not waiting for change, you are becoming the change. As your inner vibration lifts, life responds in kind. The circumstances that once seemed immovable begin to bend to your new state of consciousness. The old dissolves, the new emerges, and everything rearranges itself to match your renewed belief in who you are and what you deserve. Remember, nothing is ever against you. Even what appears as delay or setback is divine order at work, aligning the perfect sequence for your highest good. Trust the process. Rest in faith. Know that the divine cannot fail. The moment you imagine your new world and walk as if it were already done, you step into the reality that has been waiting for you all along. The shift has begun, not somewhere out there, but within you. Every thought, every assumption, every quiet moment of faith is shaping the world you will soon see with your eyes. So hold your vision, stay in the feeling of fulfillment, and walk forward, knowing that everything is now moving in your favor. Thank you for allowing these words to speak to your spirit. May they remind you of the power that lives within you, the power to create, to transform, and to awaken. The shift is here, and it's yours.